Okay, so I will just share one, the particular one that I, keeps ringing bells in my head, even till today. Why is this mic not working now? Okay, so there's this particular scene, that keeps ringing bell in my head. And by the grace of God, will be 15 years this year. So, okay, so after the church service, what next? We'll take snapshots and, so they kept calling people to come out, take pictures with us. Okay, the family of the groom with the bride, and no, with the couple, the Zozo Agape Church with the couple, And so it looks as if the list was, endless. And suddenly, my husband just carried me. And, I just took me away from that place. And everybody was just shouting, screaming, and all. And like, only mumati berebaniel. So, and it took me, he carried me like that. Can you remember this? You like mischief now. So I don't want to talk about some other things because you people, this is a church service. Don't let me say what I'm not supposed to say. It's not a marriage seminar, it is church service. So that particular one, stood out for me and keeps ringing bells. So sometimes I long for this. And of course, I won't say it, but it does it times, times again and again. So that's one particular scene that I remember.
Scenarios for discussion. A couple starts strong in love, but grows distant after a few years. What are the signs that love is fading? How can they reignite it? Okay, so I'm a very realistic person. I'm a realist. So it's very normal when you just got a dress or the value, for instance, of my suit when they are new. You don't do anyhow with them. So it's normal. You just bought a car. But after some years, you will know that that value of that thing will begin to drop gradually. So how do you ensure it doesn't drop? Because there are two questions in one. How do you reignite? Three things are very, very germane in marriage or in love. People don't understand. And this month, for my deep dive, I've done a lot of talking about love. Even the devotional for tomorrow, I've done. So one or three things out of the devotional tomorrow, I'll use them to explain this. Each time you talk about love, three things must come to mind. Number one, commitment. Number two, fidelity. Number three, sacrifice. One will lead you to the other. The highest of them is sacrifice. But before you graduate on to sacrifice, we must have seen that you are loyal, fidelity to this person. And so even when things get old, once there is commitment, there is loyalty, and there is sacrifice, you will treat that thing very, very well. By the grace of God, I'm not loving my wife less. But I do not have to announce it to anybody or put her on my status every day to show. You understand? These three things are very, very germane. To want to think that the way you did on your wedding day or wedding night, you must begin to do it all of the time. It's not realistic. Be sincere with yourself. It doesn't make sense. What makes sense is commitment. I have told you I will always be there for you. Check me out 20 years after now. You will find me still being there. I'm committed to what I said. I have said I will not have any other person but you Check me 50 years' time, you will see I'm keeping to it. And I have learned the power of sacrifice. Some of the time, I will go out of my way to ensure that your needs are attended to. Once this is in place, you have reignited passion. And the reason why love fades is that marriages don't understand this principle. God bless you. It's simple, don't worry.
Okay, it's simple. Okay, so the next question is, what does it mean to love your spouse as Christ loved the church? You know, Christ's kind of love is different from romantic love. But of course, if you really want to talk, then just pretend as if you are listening. And if you want to now catch you, we'll now ask you a question. I said, sorry, I didn't get. What did you say the other time? So he loves attention, and he doesn't like you arguing with him, even when he's sounding. I don't want to use the word stupid because my husband doesn't sound stupid. So even if he's sounding funny, just listen to him and say, okay. Don't argue with him. If you argue with him, his head will spark. Just listen. Let him talk. Let him boil. Let him do everything he wants to do. Then you will by himself. You know, sometimes when by himself come back and say, actually, this and that. You know, so just give him attention. Let him express himself. Before, when he fights with all those crazy people out there, because my husband is not. And when they try to make him say what he's not supposed to say, when they drive rough and they cross his path, and he's giving them the peace of his mind at that point in time, it is not the right time for me to say, there, you are not supposed to say that. You are a pastor. What if they caught you, doing this, a church member? What will you say? At that point in time, he doesn't want to hear that. At that point, the least you could just do is to keep quiet. Or when it's boiling, just listen to her. You don't mind them. Idiots in it. Just calm down. She saw. So over the time, I learned to, put that also in mind that it is not at that point you should let his head. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, that's his love language.
It makes sense. Yes, at least you heard her. If you argue with me, especially when I'm right, I can almost slap you. And from experience, 80% of the time, when it comes to argument issue, I am right. Because I know such things anger me. I naturally, especially if you ask the media folks, they have dealings with me. I naturally will not argue until I know I am something. And she knows. I don't have a social life. But you see, me and Google, we are very good friends. Any new thing I don't know, I go to Google by myself. So when I'm telling you things you are arguing, the first thing I do, I keep you quiet. If you are wise. Kola knows this very well because we have had but when she means attention, she knows. I can give you the whole of my life if you listen to me. She knows, yes, she knows that. She knows how I can be sick. Certain people call me. I say, they listen to me, you don't listen. And then that's why she said it's strange, because whether you give me gift or not, I accept my fate. But once it comes to someone who listens to me, I give my attention to them.
Please applaud us now. We're on hot seats. How do couples rebuild trust after disappointment, in quotes, cheating?
Okay, sorry, we have never cheated, and we will not have reason to. But let me use Minister Bassi. I am aware of something he was trying to tell you the other time that happened. It was not a cheating thing. He did something that angered his wife, and I got to hear about it. And I was amazed at how he and the wife were able to manage it. You understand me? You know, it's like, imagine, let me just cite a scenario. Imagine that she gave me something to keep. Let's use this scenario. And then I used it. The day she asked of it, it was no longer available. And then she becomes angry at me. One of the things the wife did, you saw how he said, because I don't want to insult you, she found a very mild way to at least pour out her heart. She sent it. Imagine someone in the same house with you, sending you a message. It kind of shows the value that person has for her man. You've done wrong, but rather than talking the way I feel, let me rather send you a message. You understand me? And she did. And the next thing she did, she called me. He too left the house. And for me, these are very wise. He left the house and she called me. And I told him, yes, the way he left the house, he shouldn't come home. Tell him I said he shouldn't come home. He should come to my house. You know. And he came to my house and we spoke. And after I looked at the whole thing, so talked to the wife, you know, and I told him something. Whatever your wife does, let her do it. When you do wrong, stop pulling your weight. And some of us men, we do this. And Elder said it. He has a right to tell the wife, I'm not your mate. You understand? But when he found out that he was wrong, he told the wife, I'm sorry. You don't have to always pull your weight. Heaven will not fall if you say, I'm sorry. You understand me? So I found out very well. He humbled himself. Because I told him, anything your wife does, she's right. If she adds sand to your gari, she is right. You know. I found out that 2 things he did that touched me. Number 1, after a while I told Pastor Jumi, he should be excused from church work. So I told Pastor Jumi, this issue is not cheating issue, it's not a major, it's just that what you did offended your wife. And then he already began to see that maybe I have not been as husband enough. So for now, let me stay away from church things until I had to say no. It's not up to that. And told Pastor Jimmy to talk to the wife too, you understand? And they were able to work out things such that within a short while, they have been able to resolve it without. So it takes 2 to tango. If it border on cheating, which I don't encourage as a Christian, it dents your testimony. It dents your testimony. If you want to fool around before you become a Christian. Once you become one, and you have a partner in your life, make up your mind. Listen, if one can't satisfy you, 10 will not satisfy you. Take it from me. Just take it from me. So there's nothing new you want to get. Make up your mind. I will stick to one. Don't think if that one is not doing certain things, sit down, discuss it, and find way around it. Because by the time you begin to get into others, certain people got cursed upon their life because they went into cheating, whether male or female, because these days it goes on both sides. But peradventure, the issue of cheating comes in. Please forgive yourselves. I was dealing with an issue like that. The man cheated, and I was managing the woman, and I told her to forgive, and it seemed hard to her. I said, you don't lose your marriage because this happened. Until her therapist I told her, I said, please get a therapist, but please get a Christian therapist. And the therapist told her, your marriage is worth fighting for. Fight for your marriage. The day she told me, I said, I'm glad your therapist is saying the same thing, because most therapists these days will say, leave him. Cheating is a legitimate reason in the Bible why you can go apart, actually. Yes, I said so. And it's in the Bible. But it is better you go to the part of forgiveness and the part of renewal. Okay? In a nutshell, you who is the party that erred, be humble enough to be willing to do all you can to turn a new leaf. And that was what our brother did, despite the thing was so minute. But he was able to show that the fact that it offended you, I will go out of my way. Look at it. He said even his friends gave him book. Read so book. Some men will never do that. Me reading a book because I offended her. Won't she offend me to some other time? But he was willing to do things that can help him. It means in his mind, he has said it, that he's willing to do whatever he can to make sure that his spouse is happy. So, I may not have answered this as perfect as you would have wanted. It's because I have never cheated. And I'm not planning to cheat.
So, in addition to that, I will also say that, it's not easy because somebody's trust has been betrayed here. So, of course, seek counsel, like Pastor says.
Women will answer it better. They are the ones that cheating, they can't stand it.
Honestly speaking, it's not easy.
Because she had told me that if I want to last, don't ever think about cheating.
Before how did we even get here? Because you would have seen the sign. You understand what I'm saying? You would have seen the sign. It didn't just happen. You have been having conversation with this person. Something leads to something that eventually led to that. So for me, I feel transparency is very key. Because when somebody is suggesting something to you, I don't have any male friend in my life that my husband doesn't know about. I always tell him things like, so by the time I start hiding something from him, even my conscience will be telling me, Shay, you have started already. Mm-hmm. Because that thing will lead to something that will eventually lead to something.
Yeah.
So ask yourself, anything that would, create that gap, communication gap between you and your spouse, please avoid it.
Yes.
So that we won't get to this stage. Thank you.
Yeah. Like she did say, it's true. Colleagues I've never met, talking about guys, she has a program she's doing in Unilag. It's a guy that carries with the car. We will talk. I am carried by so person that I told you about. I'm in his car. We're passing around Alakwere. So someone will not come and tell me, I saw your wife in someone's car. I will say, tell me another thing. You understand me? So once there is openness, there will be trust. And it will not, let me cite a typical example. There's a book I read years ago called Finishing Strong by a man of God called Steve Farrar. Steve Farrar said he found that he was being drawn to a lady who worked in his office. So he told the wife. Here in Africa, we will say she has demons. She is trying to seduce me. He told the wife. And he and the wife prayed about it. That thing continued. He told his friend. They prayed about it. The thing continued. He prayed about it with his wife again. The thing continued. He carried his wife and his family and his children. They relocated to another state. He went to start all afresh there. And so he acted like a matured man. Certain men will say she's seducing me, or we even give in, or even, you understand, force her, because this thing, he doesn't know if it is mutual. He just knows that he's being drawn to her and is a family man. He took steps that will preserve his family.
Thank you. Okay, so another question is, what did you struggle with when you got married? And secondly, how did you manage your different personality traits when you got married? Okay, so let me answer. What did you struggle with when you got married? Okay, so, I already mentioned that my... Why, I didn't know that. Of course, there was nothing new, when we eventually got married, because we were friends for 5 years. I said 15 years. We were friends for more than 5 years, right?
5 years.
Yes. So I know that he loves conversation. He loves to gist. In the days of
Extra cool.
Extra cool. In fact, that thing used to cause quarrel. When he wants to call, I'll tell him I'm tired. He doesn't want to hear that. You're always tired. Are you the only working class lady? You cannot even create time, So that extra cool time, that moment, you just want to. So, because at some point it was a distant relationship, so we had to, keep talking and all. So it was a lot of struggle for me coming back from work, and he has a lot to say. So at some point, I noticed that he doesn't want to talk to me again because he noticed that I will not give him attention. So we'd rather go and meet my neighbor and be just... I will now come back from work. I expect him to follow me inside. He will not go inside with us and say, what's going on here? So that's how, of course, women our emotions sometimes could betray us. So I will not start accusing him that, how can a grown-up man, a married man, be gisting with another person's wife outside? And you saw me entry, you cannot even go inside with me. So, and now, told me that you don't give me attention. I have a lot of things to share with you. You don't want to. And I need to talk to someone. Okay, so that is it. So I had to like learn how to sit down and listen. Then another part to that is that getting married to a pastor. You know, of course, while I was not married, it is when it is convenient for me that we go, you know, that would maybe we'll pray together, and also we'll also have to agree. Is it cool for you to come to, you know, Father, you to come out to do evangelism this weekend? Because, of course, if I'll be traveling a very long, you know, distance to come to Friday to do evangelism Saturday, knowing fully well that I worked from Monday to Friday, and Saturday is my resting day, you know, my weekend, you know, is my resting day. So it's something that we have to talk about. But now that I'm married, it was a whole lot of, like, Saturday, we have to go for evangelism, you know, we have to pray together, we have one meeting or the other, and I was just asking God, oh God, help me. Don't let me regret this decision, please. Help me, strengthen me for this journey. You know, so at that point, I needed God to, you know, come to my aid, my rescue, to help me. And, as, you know, time goes on, I got used to it.
You're talking now.
Answer the second one. I've answered the first one. You had struggles when we first got married.
Like she said, I am a communication expert. When it comes to communication, it's not my weakness. She was a poor listener, and it was a challenge. She will slip off on you. You are talking, she will just slip off on you, or she will log off on you. So it was, maybe it was a struggle, it was an initial issue. We have other people who are looking for someone who will communicate. Here you have found someone who doesn't have time to listen. Yes, you have. Her attention span then was very short, you know. So maybe it was a struggle. But personality difference, I'm outspoken and an extrovert. She is an introvert. A typical example I would rather use was a recent incident. She lost her elder sister, and my wife logged off. She just cut off from people. She likes to be alone by herself. When people come to visit, I am the one that is entertaining them, telling them all the stories that led to her death. You know, and my wife just said, I was one crazy and insensitive man. She doesn't know where she met a man like this. How can you not be sensitive, even on matters like this? Until my own elder brother died. And she found out I was exactly like that. People come, I will sit all of them down. And begin. She now said, oh. I'm sorry. I didn't know it's your person. I thought, because she too was withdrawing on my behalf. She's the one logging off again on my behalf. Why me? So, extroverts will do their things, you understand? Introverts will. And somehow, I realized that opposing poles attract. I knew I was not going to marry an extrovert like myself. The home was going to be. So I was okay with having someone who was on the reserved side. So we found a way of balancing it because I know opposing poles attract.
Please,
so
how
for
many
me,
questions do we have?
for me, we found ways to strike a balance somehow, somewhere. And I'm advising anybody here, don't stop going around looking for someone like you. You're deceiving yourself. Mm-hmm. The person who is opposite to you is good. Over time, you will find balance around yourselves. You sure will. So you find, even as we're here, certain things she will jab me. It was sorrow, oh yeah, take it over. So it's like that. One of the things I found out, there was a time I recommended twins. So up until now, at times I find challenge, knowing, so I stopped doing that. I would just say, she want to tie, and they say immediately. So I recommended to someone, but one of the things the person said, he said one of them is more outspoken than the other. So you see, even twins that are identical, you will find that there are, feel free to be in your element. If this person is outspoken, just ensure that you have self-control. And at times, she could be the self-control. She will use that to tell me about it too. And then.
So over the years, we have learned to complement each other, you know. So I don't see him as, you are a talkative. You know, so I see that as his area of strength.
So when you use that for your spouse, that's insulting, whether female or male. Especially the older we become, let's become gracious with our words. Don't say you are a talkative, even though that's what's in your heart. Rather find a way to paint it so that the message can be... In your heart, you mean it, but use better words to convey it.
Okay, so I think this question is directed to me. So as a working wife and mother,
Working class wife
oh yeah.
and mother.
So how does understanding Christ's love
Help you
how
balance.
does it help you balance? How do you balance your home and your career? I think Sister Toyo has done justice to that question. She has actually done justice.
Well, let's hear from your voice. Okay, repeat what she said.
So she talked about time management. Time management, and one should not suffer for another. Your career is important, and your home is as important as your career.
I will mention the other side to it when she has answered us. On the side of the men who are suffering from working class wives who don't balance, I will tell you. But let us say from her side.
Okay, like I said, she has done justice to that. Time management. I understand that when it is closing time, it is closing time. It is those days that you want to do extra hours because there are bonuses for you. But a married woman will not do that. If your home is peaceful, if you know that you are going home, and it's not another place for it's not a conflict zone, you understand? Because you know that some ladies who are married will want to stay late in the office, and you are wondering what's going on. So if you look very well and you deep down, you will realize that their home is not peaceful. You understand? So if you don't want your home to suffer, you need to understand that I have 8 hours to give to work, and once I get home, I don't even pick my phone. I don't know. It could even be in my bag till the following morning. That is it. I don't bring out my phone. I just leave it there. So anything that is work related, I don't even open my official mail because I know I have limited time, for my family. And that is the reason why I can't do weekend work. I don't know, as married people, what you are doing with, going to work on Saturdays, not even talk of Sundays, is a no-no for me. So just understand then, set boundaries. She has said set boundaries. Don't allow office work to, take, what's it called? Priority
encroach
into your. So when it is office time, we have working hour, do your work very well. When it is not office time, give it to your family. Let them know that this is a no-no for me. I don't check my official mail during, when it is off hours.
Okay, so for those who can't help it, maybe the nature of your job compels you to work Saturday and Sundays. We're in Lagos. Some of the time we can't help it. The issue is not the days you work. The issue is when you are available, do you give attention to your spouse as you have to? I had to in recent time be correcting her because she works now for the first time with a boss who likes attention. So at times, it is by 6:30 that the boss is bringing some new things. A fellow female like herself, and is telling her to stay. Obviously, maybe that one doesn't have a husband. And at times, I'm calling her around 5:30 when I think she should be on her way. She says, I'll be working late today. And I'm saying, so if I didn't call you now, I will not know you'll be working late. And the challenge, because I use her car, so she doesn't drive to work, I will not have to be checking on her again and again, because if she leaves the normal time, she already has an arrangement that moves her. But now that she has to work late, at time leaving the office around 8:30. There was a time that it was a rainy day. I had to go and pick her around 10:30 or whatever, because one crazy boss, who is a woman like her, wants her to work extra hour. For me, a woman must, no matter how working class you are, set an emotional boundary. It's not just a physical boundary. Remind yourself you have a husband at home and children, and they need you emotionally, not just physically. Don't be there physically and say, but I'm tired. You shouldn't know you are tired. You should have told your office and your boss too that what they are paying does not deserve to take the totality of your being. Work wisely. How much are you earning that you want to jeopardize yourself? You will now bring dead wood body to a husband, especially weekends. For you Lagosians, married couple, you know how important weekends are. So you come back Friday saying, well, I'm tired. Ma, something is wrong with you. Ma, something is wrong with you. You see, to show respect, I put ma. Something is wrong. You should naturally psych up yourself. Meaning, use yourself wisely. There is a way as a pastor I use myself when I'm fasting. It is not the same way I use myself when I'm not fasting, because you may collapse. On certain occasions, use yourself sparingly for your husband. It doesn't matter the work your boss wants you to do. Advise yourself. You will not be there when this thing will create trouble in my home. So, I will use myself wisely because my husband is waiting for me. Please, I have said that for men. Certain men suffer in silence. And you say it's a Christian home for the sake of the love of Christ. The sake of the love of Christ should make you be balanced. To know that this person will not cheat. I shouldn't make him feel bad not cheating. The same thing for the woman too. If I know she won't cheat, I shouldn't make her feel bad for not cheating. You know what I mean by feel bad? Some in their mind are saying, Kimauku money, Maukuma cheat. No, you don't have to. Let's balance it for ourselves so that we can have the kind of peace of mind we want in the home.
Okay, thank you, sir. A round of applause for us.
It's women that will not clap for me because I hit them somewhere.
Okay, so I'll pick one. So what is one thing that has strengthened your love over the years?
I have explained it now. Those three things, those things I shared with you, I don't joke with it. Like I just told her, even when I'm angry with my wife, there are certain things I will do for her. There was a day I had to drive her before 6 a.m. to catch their staff bus then. She was angry at me and actually insulted me. I kept her quiet. I drove her there.
And the following day?
The following day, she was still angry at me. I woke up in the morning, carried her, drove her there. For me, there are certain commitments I've made up my mind about. Even if I'm angry, it doesn't touch. And she knows, even if I'm angry, I eat her food. So these principles have kept our... is the food I may drop money for the food. No, I've always thought it. It's not wise that you drop money for food. If at that day, tell her, I the best for you, but cook the food well. I go eat her. Now my money. But certain men don't understand. You avoid your money. She now cook her. She's eating your money for you. No. Cook her well. I go eat her. Now my money. It's a different ball game if you didn't drop money. But you drop money. Add bokoto to her. It doesn't mean I'm not fighting you, but I must. So for me, those values I have helped. So it's not that pastor is perfect. I put those values in place. And she can attest that even when I'm angry, I will do. If I need to buy her something, I'll buy it and give it because of the principles I've had in place.
Okay, then I also say that learn to communicate respectfully. You know, even when you are hungry, two wrongs don't make a right. Just try as much as possible to communicate, respectfully without being insulted. Then maybe active listening too. That answers the second
question here.
Okay. Okay, how do you handle disagreements in a way that honors God? Yeah, then also active listening.
Sorry, remember the first drama they showed us? It was certain that those first couple are a recipe for disaster. Despite what they display are people's lives. There are certain homes you see, 30 years of war. Because the man doesn't know how to talk and he's not been able to learn it. Some of us are guilty of. When I first got married, that was what Pastor Ayo had to teach me. You see, I'm very forceful the way I talk. So even my lecturer said, Desmond, you talk as if you're fighting. In my mind. So when I'm now fighting, how will it be? It'll be like war. Naturally, I'm forceful the way I talk. So obviously, when I got into marriage, for her, it was a no-no. She cannot deal with a man that is talking as if it's warfare. So Pastor Ayo had to say, Pastor, women hear how you say it more than what you say. Yes, so it was the earliest thing I learned in my marriage. That how you say it is more important to what you are saying. For us men, what we are saying is what matters. But how you say it to them. And so I had to learn it. So beyond putting Christ, how to honor Christ. If you are not honoring men, you can't honor Christ too. So you must learn to honor that person who you married. Because it's reciprocal. So I had to learn my own way. Some men have not learned it. And then the woman too choose to now become like that. He says you are mad. She too will now say, and women double anything you say. You are mad. You are mad too. You are mad times two. Okay. She's holding me to.
So I don't understand. We have 3 questions in one paper. The third one is, what is one misconception about Christian marriage?
People
It's
generally believe that Christian marriage is boring, but nothing is more far from the truth more than that. I am not romantic, but my home is not boring. I can tell you the truth.
Which one is you're not romantic?
Meaning that I do not know how to do a lot of things people know how to do. I will never buy her rose.
Me too, I don't like rose.
So I will never be able to do certain Cinderella things. It just doesn't make sense to me. She knows that if God bless me one day, I will not do her surprise. I will tell her, she already knows, I will buy you a car when God provide for me. Leave this one that you're using to. The day money is, I will say, don't worry, it will soon happen. One day I'll just carry her, let's go. So me, I don't know. Certain people want to do surprise, tie this thing on it, bring it. It's not my thing. My surprise is I will buy it for you. And the day the money comes,
surprises too are good. So just
that's why I said it's not my thing.
Make it your thing. Try
I will not
sometimes.
learn. I will not learn. My own style. I want people to learn my own style too and say, this is Desmond's style. His style is what he will do. He will promise when the time comes, he will do it.
Amen.
It's my style.
Amen. Lastly.
It's my style.
If I could give a newly wedded,
a newly wed a piece of advice, what will it be?
Okay, what will it be?
I'll tell them not to be hasty about concluding on their partner. There were a lot of things she thought about me that was not exactly true. Over time, she feel the difference. Give people chance to become better. We became better over time. So if I have to advise newlywed, I'll tell them not to be hasty, not to be in a hurry. Give yourself time. Don't say, I'm getting out of this marriage. He's useless. He's good for nothing. He's jobless. He's lazy. He can't do anything. You are married. Give him time. Give her time. You will see he or her change. That's my personal advice.
Then, well, I will also say that don't...
We have to
how
run.
will I put it now? Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Then don't give room for assumption. Like, I already know, this is the reason why he did this and that. Please, give room for clarification. Ask him, why did you do this? Why this, why that? Don't give room for the enemy to, build on that hurt, on that, misgiving that you have about certain things. So I think...
Let me do one pastoral thing. Let me see one question that is very, very important.
What are the biggest threats to love? What are the biggest threats to love in your marriage? Which one is good? One mistake singles make. What mistake singles make when it comes to marriage?
One mistake singles make.
One mistake. What is the mistake they make when it comes to marriage?
So she kept analyzing something. Don't marry rubbish. One greatest mistake singles make when it comes to marriage, they ignore warning signs.
Yes.
Ó rí pé èèyàn máa ń parọ́. Ó ní, but I love him. Ṣé nǹkan ń ṣe ẹ́ ni? See, don't ignore it. Your life, you don't have duplicate life. One life. Má rora ẹ pin. Maybe I will not get a husband. Maybe I will not get a wife. Says who? If he lies, he will lie more when he is married to you. If he slaps you, don't say he will change. I will change him. Ó wáyé wá jẹ́ 14 years. These things are major red flags. If they happen, don't ignore it. Cry out. The last thing I'll say on that, because there's one other question I think I should address before we leave. The last thing is that, I'll tell you this. Some of you will admit, don't marry any partner that doesn't have a pastor. Okay, who will you cry to? Toba dojue. In Africa, we don't use therapies much because it's expensive. Ask those who live abroad to do it. It's very expensive. They pay per class or session. Our therapists are our pastors. It's extra job. Now you marry someone who doesn't send anybody. Who will tell him, bro, don't do it. Listen to me. Don't do it. For my sake. For my sake, don't do it. We have had many homes. That's what kept it. The pastor was able to come in to say, it's your right, but please don't do it. Don't marry someone who doesn't have someone spiritual over his life that he values and respects. It's very dangerous. Today you will think, because what they think is Christian brothers are boring. Christian brothers that are boring, it is not Christianity that made them boring. It's because naturally they are boring. What makes me, I'm naturally a very lively person, meaning I drive around looking for what will make me laugh. So when I get back home, I have story to tell her. The day someone said they did party in your head, the chairs, they have not packed it. Oh, I came back and, for me, I just like to catch fun. If I feel bored, I watch comedy. She knows. You understand me? So how will my life be boring? All I know is I stay away from sin. But I love to be lively. I love to be happy. And I am not showy. I remember when we first had a train trip to Ibadan. And then we did a lot of snapping. At a point, she said, Oga, stop snapping. Why now? She said, because you will not share it. You will not. Certain things are not my thing. I don't know how to snap because I want to share. For me, I snap for memory's sake. Children and children will see them. But to now display, she worry me, I want people to see. People should just know that we are in love. If you are in suffering, okay. She said, all right. Why Africans is that, see, Africans, what makes us what we are is that we like to show. But do you show your suffering? So when you are suffering, nobody cares. When you are enjoying too, nobody should care. Certain village people, all they need to get you is to go to your social media. But do you know, go and ask, there are certain people who do certain jobs. They tell them, keep your profile very low. Some of those who earn the most, Shell workers, Chevron workers, for security purpose, they tell those guys, keep low profile. Don't let people know. There are certain Shell staff who earn 10 million per month, for your information. They tell them, keep low profile. Don't let people know how much you earn. Drive simple cars. Dress simply. The same thing as a pastor. We are taught actually to be don't be very showy. It took some color and some brother Dami. My colors are dull colors. If I have a shoe that is loud, I won't wear it. Because I believe that as a pastor, draw less attention to yourself. Draw more to the gospel you are teaching. You understand me? For me too, I believe as a couple, don't invite village people into your home because you just want to prove. Don't prove anything. If you are joyful, celebrate your joy with your spouse. Don't always want to prove it to outsiders. Sing me to outsiders. Let them know you love me. Women love that, but some of the time it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. For instance, look at what Two-Face and Anne Idibia are suffering now. One of the reasons is because they have always liked to push their... Now they have pushed their wahala. But go and check. There are certain celebrities. There is Tunde and Wumi Obe. I'm not sure if they are Christians. That guy is way finer than that lady. It's not them, say we all know. But look at how they've been together. How often do you see them? Olu Jacobs and the wife did theirs. There are a lot of people. At times when we get too showy, we will also expose our home to certain attacks that are not necessary. I'm telling you the truth. It takes some mature couple who will teach you this one. Teach you any bad time by me. Just wisely manage yourself. People don't know. You and your children know that you are having the time of your life. But always showing it. You wear and co. You do this and that. Before you know what, certain demonic people will tell themselves and we break into that home. Truth. And before you know what, truly, the one's happy home is in trouble. It's a golden wisdom. God will give us understanding. I must take one more. That's what our time is. There is a question that was here about.
No, here. These are the questions we can answer. Check.
The biggest threat to any love, infidelity is always.
Yes.
It injures especially the women more.
Yes.
Men cannot stand it at all. In Africa, men don't mind all of this. Men can't stand that his wife, another person is touching her, they can't stand it. Any man here who can stand it, raise up your hand, let me see.
Even women can't stand it.
I know women are in the receiving end more. So they are those who show us feeling. But I'm telling you, men who are not in the receiving end, they can't stand it. So one of the greatest threats to love is unfaithfulness. If you know you don't have tendency to be faithful, don't get married. Stay single and be jumping around. Till the day God will give you deliverance. How do you show love when you don't feel like showing? Love is not a feeling. Follow my deep dive today. Follow the one for next week. Follow the one. Me and Pastor Jumi did one. So 3, I did love 1, 2, and then we did together 3, where she asked me certain questions. Please follow it and share it. It will bless you. Love is not a feeling. It's erotic love that is feeling. You see, biblical love and other loves, it's not just about feeling. When there is commitment, even when you don't feel like the story I told you, you will still do it. Because over time, she will repent or he will repent. You will forgive the person. So why keep malice when you know you could as well? A young girl with fantasies ending up... As a young girl with fantasies, ending up with a pastor as a husband. How do you manage getting your husband's attention? When I handle you, you will tell me who wrote this. Let me tell you a story. One major vacation. That's why for couple, always save up for vacations. Vacations will always make up. Especially for those of us who live in Lagos. It can be crazy. Lagos life. Until you go and live in places like Oshogbo, Akure, where else again they have a decent life. In Lori, you will now know that it's not life we are living in Lagos. There was a day I left church by 8. And you know I fast on Wednesdays. We didn't get home till past 12 in the night. If last man stopped me that day, I would have beaten him. Because fasting has become long suffering. Long suffering has become frustration. No food, no water. What happened? Traffic. It will never happen in any normal, sane place. And such a partner come home, you are doing anyhow. He will end up doing something very bad to you. So you will not know we are not living normal life in Lagos until you go to places where you can close 5 and get home 5:15, 5:20. And have time with your spouse. Gist, relate with your children. Certain parent children, their children have closed before they get home. So having sought, as a Lagosian, save money for vacation. My wife is very, very spiritual. You don't know, at home I'm not as spiritual as she is. Or religion man sue me when you to I just feel like we are not in church. But as religious as she was, when we went on vacation to Badagry, my wife wore bikini in the beach and was playing with water. If you see sand in my wife's hair, we got to the hotel. I took 30 minutes to remove it. So at the point, I was saying I didn't know the woman I married. And like, she can play like this. And so I was not asking her. She's like, you won't allow. So I need to be, as pastor's wife, we need to, but I need to be in places like this where I don't know anybody, nobody knows me, it's only me and you, to be able to, you understand, have some fun that I normally would not have. And I feel like, very true. So it's not an everyday thing. Save up to go for vacation. You have time to do certain things that are fun-filled. And the Bible is not against this. So it's not that Christian marriages are synonymous with boredom. It is poverty that creates boredom. 3 major issues that are the greatest problem in marriage. Number 1, sex. When it gets to a certain level, preferences differ. It's a major issue. Number 2, communication. It's a major issue. Number 3, money. And the greatest of them all is money. I don't like money. I don't love money. Just keep quiet. Just keep quiet. When there is no money, there will be frustration. You don't have to be rich. But there are certain things once need come for it. Take care of it. It resolves certain issues in marriage.
2 minutes to go. The last one. Okay.
When your partner is going through a tough time, either spiritually or physically. I was trying to settle a couple in Canada. He made a statement. He said, I was down and you trampled on me and stepped on me. This marriage is gone. When people are down, No matter what they have done for you, be magnanimous in heart. So wait for them. You know, I love Oyibo police. When you are drunk and you get accident, it's not like Nigerian police that will slap you. Oyibo police will carry you, treat you well, take you to hospital, good one, treat you. Once you recover, they will now put a cup in your hand and take you to station to go and. The same thing in Kopu, Babanja, Bitika, Kuko. When things go wrong and your partner is in need, throw away whatever that has happened. Love that partner then. Help that partner. You understand me? Do whatever for that partner to get okay. It happened to a pastor I know. He and the wife were going through a major issue. So they went apart. Only for him to hear that her blood pressure has gone up. And that's why don't be deceived by all these idiots who sing about love. Talking about two-face. Annie is in a place dying gradually in a rehab. The idiot is in Benin jumping around with another lady. Certain people don't fear God. No matter how much you want to be unfaithful. Remember the good times you guys shared together. Remember your African Queen song you sang. And say, I will still leave you. But I will at least stand by you now and watch you recover. Do you want the daughter of that woman to grow up? How should she treat her father? He's busy wanting to be a lover boy. Close to, okay, at 50 or close to 50. It doesn't make sense. We have to use that because he threw his affair to public distance. So he becomes, so please, no matter how he offends you and if she offends you, once it comes to that, she is down physically or spiritually, please stand by him or her. Call for help for her. I tell her often, I will tease her to say, so what we used to insult ourselves is, oh, Niwa. And both here, Niwa. I still told her yesterday. I said, as much as, oh, Niwa. I sprayed a chemical in the house, and then she went to the room. For a while, I wasn't hearing her. So I was saying, Jerry. And then I came in, I checked. I said, come on, go to that. I said, oh, Niwa, but mufere. So no matter how much you think your partner has done wrong, when it comes to the issue that border on their lives, please don't be vindictive. Stand, get them help. If you think it's spiritual, get them pastoral help. If you think it is physical, get them physical help. If you think it's emotional, get them emotional help. I tell you a last story and that should suffice. This woman has suffered so much from her husband. She made up her mind she wants to leave him. But before she leaves, she wants to punish him and make him feel the pains she felt. So she went to see a therapist. And she told him, I'm done. He has cheated, he has done, I am done. But I want to punish him before I go. What can I do that will pain him? The therapist said, well, those are our work. He said, you will go and love him for 2 months. Show him love for 2 months. And suddenly, when the love has gotten to height, just give him divorce and leave. Say he will commit suicide. She just said, he will run mad. She said, good. She shook him, paid him good, and went and began to display love. It was therapists that even called her to say it's 2 months. She said, no, I can't leave him. She said, the love that have existed between me and him within that 2 months, I never knew we have capacity to love ourselves like that. Don't worry about the vendetta anymore. Now we are both in love and our home has just begun. So you see, at times if we give love chance, love will prevail. But if you don't give love chance,